Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Business Uncut. Today I want to dig a little bit deeper into something further than just looking at tax and the financials of a business. What I want to look at today is actually talking about client or customer acquisition through marketing. How do I believe businesses will succeed through digital marketing, looking at aspects of conversion, how to tie this in with your figures and understanding metrics around marketing itself, and why I think it's so important for every business to try and figure out whether or how to leverage off marketing itself. And I'm talking about paid marketing and the strategy around paid marketing. Today with me is the director of Fourth Wave Digital. Sam Barnes basically has created a digital marketing agency a little bit different to the traditional, in a way that he's focusing on automation, focusing on not just conversion and acquiring leads, but how do you systematically implement this into your business so that every lead costs you less or has a higher impact towards your profitability. Sam, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Why I wanted you on here today is to have a discussion, firstly, around why we think most businesses do not scale and are unable to scale quickly and profitably, which will lead us directly straight into digital marketing and how to do it correctly.
Yep.
And so we're going to talk about product-based businesses. We're going to talk about service-based businesses. So I know we have a vast array of listeners who may be falling into either space. But the crux of it is that I believe if you are not investing into some type of paid marketing, automation, looking into AI, I think that you're going to fall behind very, very quickly.
Yep.
And your competitors are going to eat you alive.
100%.
Basically.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's start off with, when you are sitting down with a service-based business or a product-based business, what are the main things that you're seeing that they're not doing and that's impacting their business?
Getting to the leads in time.
Yep.
So if someone is scared of doing the kind of paid, like the paid route, it's usually because they don't know how to handle the extra leads, right? So they kind of get stuck in that comfort level of just their little bubble of referrals. Whereas, the supply and demand, there's definitely more people out there searching for their service. So there's kind of that. You know what I mean?
And there's a big misconception around, I think the biggest misconception is that marketing just costs money and you don't need it for your business.
Yeah.
And I think this is the biggest detriment to any business owner that wants to create a real business, is you need to find a way to leverage off some type of marketing that you know that you can push a trigger and increase leads or decrease leads at will.
Yep.
And so if we're coming across a client and they're just like, well, all I do is referral based, amazing. Because probably referral based are probably the best type of clients.
Yeah.
However, is it consistent? How much does it cost you? Can you say tomorrow that I want to get an extra 10 leads? Most likely not.
No, it's an organic kind of growth that some people just get comfortable with.
Yep.
But that's why, I love how much you're talking about the unit economics, like the cost per acquisition, the lifetime value of a customer. And when you've got the data in front of you, those numbers, then it's just a numbers game. Like eventually it should be looked at as an investment to make more money down the track. And that's what I say, like supply and demand, like understanding how many people are actually searching for your service or your product. Like I always just start with keyword research first. In the Google Ads tool, we can look at exactly, I always do the example of a plumber near me in this circle, how many people are searching it, plumber Gold Coast, all of that. That's our opportunity. And then we start to actually break down how much it's going to cost us to get one of those people.
Perfect. Well, let's do that. I reckon in this podcast, in this little segment, before we go into the services that you deliver and how you deliver and why do you deliver them in the first place, let's build a business. I reckon what we do right now is we look at a plumbing business. You and I are going to start a plumbing business.
Yep.
I'll take you through the steps of what I would do from a business point of view, and then I would get a third party like Sam to come in and cross-check my figures and my understanding of acquisition of customer and how we do that in the best way. Platforms, where we actually do our marketing, the CRM system that we're using, the automation to actually close it, right? So let's do that. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me as a business owner, every single time I look at a business, I will look at a few things. First, I will look at, okay, what is the service offering that we're delivering? And in this case, we are going to be your general plumber.
Yep.
Yep, we're not going to specialize in anything, so we can go into specializations later, but I'm your everyday plumber who goes out and fixes pipes, drains, installs, taps, whatever needs to be done.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so in my mind, I go, cool. I'm gonna be based on the Gold Coast, and you're taking all this information in.
Yep.
I'm gonna be a plumber on the Gold Coast, and my bread and butter sort of client. I'm hoping that I can get a call-out rate of $150, and then I'll do a job for them for a minimum of $300. So I want to have a sort of a target of about $500 per service, and it can go up from there.
Yeah.
You were an ex-plumber in your past life, so
yeah. So it's a good example.
You could probably jump in here and say if it's a little bit too less. But let's just say we have an average value of $500 to $1,000 for maintenance, plumbing maintenance.
Yeah.
Cool. And so I'm going to start that in a company. So the accounting point of view and structure point of view, I've got a company just so that I can mitigate risk. I can put on employees. I'm going to put in 50 grand into this business because I need some capital to work on building it. I'm probably just going to have an apprentice to start off with, and myself, I'll pay myself 75 grand in the first year. So I need to make some revenue quite quickly. So then it comes to, I've got my product or service, I've got my pricing. How do I get my customers?
Right, so you don't have any referrals because a lot of people
I don't have any referrals.
Yeah. Okay, so you've just moved to the Gold Coast. You don't know anyone.
I have nothing.
Right,
I have nothing. I got 50 grand in my bank account.
Well, that's
as in, like, I have no clients,
right.
but I've got 50 grand of cash that I've saved up. Obviously, I've got to buy some materials. I'm going to do my licenses. So already, let's say 20 grand of that's done just setting up legals.
Yep.
I've got 30 grand left. What should I do?
Yep. So, there's a lot of different marketing avenues that people can go down, but I would just say let's just start with a simple one-page website.
Yep.
Google Business Profile.
Yep.
And let's do some Google ads.
Yep.
The reason I go straight to Google ads is because the type of ads that Google are is exact match.
Yep.
And I know you said that you're a general plumber, let's just do general, but as an ex-plumber, I know that there's people not searching for general plumber, they're searching for toilet is blocked. So with Google Ads, with PPC, different searches have different cost per click, cost per acquisition. So instead of just going for the plumber near me, it's quite expensive, it's very competitive, I would actually encourage you straight away to go, okay, what are you best at with your maintenance? You go, hot water units. I go, great, let's do ads for hot water units.
Yes.
And we'll start with that.
Yep.
And then we can figure out the unit economics of capturing a hottie lead. And then you obviously know what you've got to price. Like maybe it's a bit of a learning experience as a new business owner that you thought this is what it was, but now you straight away know that you need to factor in that kind of cost per acquisition. So as soon as we get that one on the board, maybe it starts a little slow because it's a brand new website, brand new business profile, no reviews, a little bit harder to capture those leads. But once you've got that one, you make sure you get a review, and then us working together, we're going to try and get that price of getting you a hot water unit lead, or whatever it's going to be, tap change, toilet change. We're going to try and get that one down because that, you are starting small, so you look for the kind of opportunity of the cheaper ads that you can run rather than plumber near me.
Great. So before you start your plumbing business, what I usually recommend to any client is to figure out and build into your pricing margin how much you think it's going to cost you to acquire an actual customer itself. Because if you do that from the start, it allows you to budget in the future, it allows you to forecast, and then it also allows you to scale. Because what most people do is they'll price, let's say they price at $100 an hour, but they forget that down the track they're going to need more staff. Right now they're getting more clients, Right now they're getting all of their leads from referrals, so it doesn't cost them anything.
Yeah.
And if you're out there and you're just talking to your neighbor, you can get those sort of leads. But when you start getting employees and you start getting staff members, now you have to pay for ads to fill their capacity, you need to build the cost per acquisition into the pricing that you have.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10 clients don't do this. Now, if you're like, how do I figure out the pricing? How do I know how much it's going to cost?
Yeah.
It's going to be through trial and error, but you can go to someone like Sam who will go through his programs and research to actually say, okay, hot water systems, the clicks are...
Yeah, I can do like
a click, or I don't know.
A pre-campaign. We actually can look at it all, and from the averages of clicks to conversions, because some people are window shoppers, we can come back with a bit of a guesstimate that's pretty close. So I might come back to you and say, look, if you're going to spend $1,000 a month, it's going to cost you about $70 to get this type of lead.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then you've got to close it though.
Perfect.
It's
so then
the missing piece.
Yeah. So basically, Sam's getting us someone to inquire at $70.
Yeah.
And then I have to go, well, I know I can close these guys. I will close 1 out of 2 or 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4, 25% conversion rate, and then you can reverse engineer it. This will change as you progress within your business, your next budget for the next month. You've already got some data to say, I actually only close 10% or 15%, which we'll dive into actually how to improve the closure rates.
Yeah.
However, you've got a base. You understand and you know that, okay, cool, I'm going to spend $5,000 this month and I'll get this many customers in, potential customers in that I will close a percentage of.
Yeah.
Then you build your business on that. And so that's one part of the puzzle of building a super successful business, is to understand how to get an unlimited flow of customers from the get-go. It's not going to be solved within a month because there's a lot of testing to be done, right? Obviously, you got to get the web page done, and you have to test the campaigns and so forth. But you got to give it time. 3 months.
Yeah, I don't like to work with people for less than 3 months because there is that
learning.
Yeah, there's tweaking things. Like there's trying different. Like it might not be hot. We might start doing hot water units, and we find that it's quite expensive to get those leads, and your competitors are getting hot water units for cheaper because they are at a bigger scale.
So you might adjust to a pivot.
So we might actually go, well, hang on, what other services is the supply and demand in our favour as a start?
Drain blockage.
Yeah,
like fix my something
blocked
like that.
drains. Blocked toilets. People want to get a new toilet installed.
Yep.
Unfortunately, if you're starting a brand new plumbing business, they're the kind of jobs that you got to start out with. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, what should someone as a new business? We'll go into existing businesses because that's completely different. But a new business, how much do they budget for that first month? If we're saying, okay, we need to do a quick landing page, and when we say quick landing page, we're talking about whip something up within a week. 2 weeks, right? And it's not one of those full-blown ones with 1 million pages on there. It's basically articulate your service. It's good enough for Google Ads. It has a great way to generate leads through forms. Your numbers on there. You have few referrals. It's basically a simple page, right?
Simple page.
You have that, and then you probably need assistance with setting up the campaign and running the campaign in Google Ads, and then you need the ad spend. Small business like this, how much would they need to spend? $5,000, $10,000?
If they're serious, like you said, you got 50 grand, like $10,000, and probably just get away with like 7 over the first 3 or 4 months.
Yep.
And then you're rocking and rolling.
7 to 10 grand for 3 months.
Yep.
Perfect. So this is
so that's
again,
ad spend included.
That's ad spend included. So misconception number 2 is I need to spend a shitload of money to actually figure out a marketing campaign, right? And for me, if you're spending 10 grand or $3,500 a month over 3 months, that's a good way to test if your business is viable and scalable in the first instance. What most people will do is go, I'm going to buy the best car. I'm going to go buy, this amazing Raptor ute, and that's going to make me look really good and carry all my tools, but it absolutely screws up your marketing, like your budget for marketing. It's not a big. That's not the investment I see for a business. The investment I see is how do I get these leads flowing in here as quick as possible. Then I've got to solve how do I close them. Then I've got to solve is it profitable. But you're sort of doing that at the same time. Yeah,
but then there's the one thing that I see time and time again. Almost all of my clients don't think about the lifetime value of a customer. So sometimes I might give an end of month report and say, hey, it was $150 a lead, and they're just thinking about the job that they did. But if they are a good plumber or whatever it is, that person should be a repeat customer. And then all of a sudden, when you do your maths on all of that, it's like it just makes too much sense.
Exactly right. And we'll jump into that as well. We'll go through lifetime value and how you look at that and how you build that into a marketing campaign, because it's very, very important to understand what the lifetime value is. Because as you said, if I told you, hey, it's going to cost you $200 for a client, you'd probably be like, well, that's a waste of time. But if I said to you, hey, it's going to cost you $200 for a client, however, they're going to bring you $15,000 over the next 5 years.
Plus then that can open up a whole kettle of referrals.
Correct.
That no one it's hard to even quantify the kind of seed that you're planting just with that one client.
Exactly. So new business owners out there or existing business owners, understand what the dollar of advertising is bringing you back, not just instantly, but in the short, medium, and long term. That's what we need to understand. Cool. So we're at this stage now, a plumbing business. It's been going for a month. We've spent $3,000 in the first month, and we're like, well, we've brought in 20 leads. Cool. We brought in 20 leads. Let's say 10 leads even. We brought in 10 leads, so each lead cost us $300. So if you want to tack on the management fees, let's call it that. Including management, everything, website, everything. So they've paid for their website, and of course it's going to get. Not of course, but it hopefully should improve every single month, where you get more leads. It's the actual cost per acquisition goes down hopefully. But let's just say that, and you've got 10 leads here and here. You've closed half of them. Then that's when you need to really be strict and disciplined on how you price those, because the lead costs need to either be built in and built into not that particular product or service you're delivering right then and there, but into the lifetime value. That's what we'll have a look at. So now this business somewhat has an understanding that they can bring in leads on a consistent basis. You're doing general Google ads, basically. You're just doing Google ad campaign. Now I say to you, Sam, amazing, thanks so much. I want to scale. I want to start scaling this. I need more leads. What are the next steps and more leads? We'll go through how do we actually convert them better from a sales point of view and automation and all that sort of stuff in the next one. But what would be the next step after Google ads? So you're saying, okay, we're now spending $5,000 a month in Google ads. But I want more. What else can we do?
We're still just talking about a plumbing business?
Same business,
Right. I love local SEO. It's Google Business Profile. Everyone talks about referrals and all of that. If you start getting a review from every lead that you get, we can look at the analytics of the business profile and see how many calls you're getting. And I just calculate those calls versus our ads cost per acquisition. This is step number 2 for me.
Perfect. So local SEO, just as a visualization for the guys listening out there. Local SEO, you click on Barber near me or Barber Gold Coast, and it pops up in this little map pack, 3-pack sort of at the top.
So top 3 businesses, I know from the data, like 70% of the clicks or the calls are going to the businesses that are in those top 3.
Perfect. Everyone's seen it before, right? It's like that little rectangle box, and there's 3 businesses in there. It usually shows their Google reviews in there, and it's part of a map.
Part of a map, there's 200 different metrics that goes in. Usually they're pretty close by, but you can with enough reviews and enough work on everything, you can outrank other businesses.
Perfect.
So yeah, if you're getting a consistent flow of reviews and you've put a few photos up and all of that, then you start getting some phone calls, and we can just value those phone calls versus what we've done with the Google Ads. Google Ads are costing us $300. You got one free call. Someone's just called the business because they found you in that top 3.
Amazing.
That's worth $300.
Perfect.
Now that is a bit of a slow game. So if you're in a competitive market like plumbing, it's probably not going to happen overnight.
Yep.
So we can skip over that if you like to more paid kind of
and that's
paid advertising.
That's why I agree with you. I always go down the paid way first, because we know it's going to be nearly guaranteed leads coming back. It might be expensive, but it's nearly guaranteed that you're going to get some form. And then I like doing that next strategy of going local SEO, which means that we're targeting everyone within the area, trying to get in the first page of Google into the map, the 3-tier map pack, we'll call it. And then that way it's sort of organic in a way, and it's building your organic presence on Google.
So we want to stick to paid?
No.
Pay to play?
I think what we're doing is giving the audience an understanding of how to build a really solid, robust system that doesn't rely on one aspect of marketing.
Right.
Because nine times out of 10, where I see businesses will fail from a marketing point of view is they'll put all of their spend and effort into Facebook ads or Google ads. And if it shuts down, I'll give you a good example, and you work with some of my businesses as well. At one stage, Facebook changed their algorithm and changed the way that we could do ads for this certain business. We're spending 30 to 40 grand a month on ads. Changed it, and we instantly lost leads, like
overnight,
half of our leads overnight.
And that, privacy laws, like things are changing so fast. So yes, it is good to kind of diversify a little bit. And it depends what industry. Like recently, one of my restaurant clients, we've only just realised that actually TripAdvisor ads actually do perform for the restaurant, right? But if you're like any type of industry that it makes sense to have a Facebook or an Instagram account, then yes, we should probably trial some Facebook and Instagram ads. I don't recommend doing it yourself because Meta is actually quite complex. And you can, like, you try to save money on the management, but then you're like, I can figure this out. And then one setting that you've done the wrong way within your Facebook and Instagram, and I've seen ads of businesses from America that are service businesses from America. And I'm sure other people have as well. Like, why am I seeing this ad in my feed? Well, it's because they haven't optimized the ad right.
Cool.
So
let's jump into Facebook ads in the next one. But so now we've got Google ads, paid. We've got local SEO. And so guys, I always like to try and paint a picture of what that looks like. You search this business, and we'll call it Sam's Plumbing Business, Gold Coast. You live on the Gold Coast looking for a plumber, and you've gone, best plumber near me. Sam's business pops up as an ad at the top. And so you have a Google ads, you're at the top, and you might think, I don't click on those Google ads, but a lot of people click on the Google ads, it's proven. But for those that don't, that want more of a reliable source, let's say, then you're now in this three-pack map at the top. And so how many businesses are generally on the first page of Google? How many, I guess, different websites are on there? 15, 10?
Well, the SERPs, the way Google presents the page is always changing. I've written a blog about this.
But roughly there's like, on the first page when you look at it, it's like about 10 positions.
Once you get down to it though. Correct. That's what I'm saying. Like the ads, three ads, 3 business profiles. Now you got the AI like summaries, and then you got the...
So let's call it 10. So what I'm getting at here with everyone listening is, if there are 10 pieces of real estate on this street that's very sought after, you've now got 2. 20% chance of someone clicking on your business. And then the next stage of that is obviously it's a longer term, and it's more like AI based SEO and traditional SEO,
Yeah.
which I believe is a little bit more difficult, longer burn, however high impact. So the goal in any of my businesses is to try and get our name at least 3 times on the first page to take up all the real estate.
Yep.
Or it's a law of, it's now a law of, how much of a percentage can we take, and the chances of someone clicking on us is much, much, much higher.
I thought I might, because some people might not know about how Google Ads work, because we kind of skimmed over that with the keyword research, but because you made a good point, some people do skip past those, but we don't pay when someone skips past your ad. So the Google, with the way Google Ads works, slightly different to Facebook and Instagram, is you pay per click.
Rather than per view.
Per view, right?
Yes.
So a lot of business owners, I believe, are like, well, I'm too small to compete against, the biggest plumbing business here, or, if they have international or national brands that they're competing against, they probably don't realize that with Google Ads, you're only paying per click, and you can also tell Google exactly where you want to pay for those clicks.
Yeah, beautiful.
You know what I mean? So it is achievable. Like, even I used to have a client that we were competing with Bunnings, right, for this product that Bunnings stocked. And on the surface, you're like, well, people can go and get it from Bunnings. How they're not going to buy e-commerce from us? But we started running the pay per click, and it was profitable. And we just found this one product, and we just pumped it.
Good. Yep.
Became like the top selling product for that company by tenfold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much you can do with marketing. So let's run through the steps again. You've set up your business. You now have a presence in the marketing space, digital marketing space, through Google Ads, local SEO. You're starting to build this, call it snowball effect now, of lead generation. Obviously, in the background, you got to figure out as a business owner how many leads you can take on, because there's only so much capacity as a service-based business that you can do. Product-based is different, obviously, because you're buying in product and you got to figure out stock at that point. But going back to the plumbing business, I need to now figure out, okay, I am generating a significant number of leads. I'm 3 months down the track. I'm getting 50 leads a month. I know it now. I can close these guys because I'm doing the sales process, and I can close these guys at a 50% rate at the price that I want. So I have choice in terms of the clientele that I want to take on, a choice of what I want to deliver. I'm selling them on value pricing rather than actual cost pricing. And so I'm getting a very good margin now. So now we have to talk about scale. And this is where it gets very, very interesting, because there are different aspects of scale that you need to nail to be able to make sure that the more money that you put into your ad spend, that you're actually getting out the same amount and you can still deliver the same result. And so first and foremost, you need to figure out capacity. How much can one single employee that you bring on deliver if you had unlimited leads, right? And so that's a completely different podcast, so we can go through capacity and planning for that. What I wanted to look at is, what's very much overlooked is how do you scale the sales side of the lead generation? Because what happens in a lot of businesses is they keep pumping. This happened to us recently, right? So in one of the businesses that I'm an owner of, we kept scaling and scaling ads to the point where we're doing anywhere between 80 to 100 grand of ad spend per month. Beautiful. Getting all these leads in, you saw it firsthand. Phenomenal amount of leads. We're acquiring them at a very, very low cost. But the problem was, whilst we had capacity to deliver the product or service, we didn't have the capacity to close them.
Yeah.
And so what happens there is we had to figure out, how do we create a system, whether that's through labor, whether that's through technology, whether that's through systemization, on how to close these leads, because it was costing us money every single lead that came through, and we weren't closing them, right? And so we were something ridiculous. We were missing 50% of phone calls. And you see this all the time. I think you have some clients that you're dealing with at the moment, or have had past clients where they're getting so many leads and they're like, look, slow it down because we can't actually keep
Sometimes
up
they don't even realise,
Yeah.
I've had clients come to me and go, we're not getting enough, we're not getting many leads. But the beautiful thing about Google Ads is we can track the phone calls.
Yeah.
Gary, you've missed half your phone calls. And when you look at this logically, plumber near me, there's, as we just spoke about, 20 pieces of real estate, and it's a cold random person. They call and they no answer.
Yep.
Next in line. You know
Perfect.
what I mean?
So let's automate this plumbing business
so I
right
didn't
now.
know
This
if
is
you
where
wanted to get into
100%.
automation and systemize, because I've just been forced to do this. You know, like in an ideal world, I would just focus on the marketing, but the problem is, people need to pick up the phone, and if they're not going to pick up the phone, then there is other tricks that we can do.
I'll set the tone of what's happening now with this plumbing business. You fix it with automations and AI, basically, right? And so now we're at a place where 6 months down the track, we are absolutely humming with leads. Bringing it in, we're spending 10, 20 grand a month. We're getting 300 leads a month now. However, even though I've hired a salesperson at the front on the phone, we're only still we're missing 50% of these calls. However, we have a team in the background wanting the jobs. They're like, give us the jobs. Like, you know, like we've got 4 vans out there, we've got a fleet. Let's do it. Like we're ready to go. What would you do in this instance?
Well, there's 3 different ways people can contact you, and if we've just optimized for phone calls and you're not, and whoever's answering the calls is missing them, then we've got 2 other options. We've got the forms that can be submitted, quote request, everyone's seen them. And I've actually found, you know, some people like to just grab the phone name and email, and I kind of push back against that, because I go, well, why? Like, if someone's come to the amount of effort to come to your site and they want your service and they weren't able to get to you on the phone, or you've optimized it a different way, we can get all the details that you need. So that call that was going to ask them, hey, where are you? What's the job for? When can we do it? Like that qualifying call, let's just put it on the website. You know what I mean? Like, is it a hot water unit? Is it a toilet? How urgent do you need this? What's your budget? Because then you can see straight away, without being there ready for the call, what the quality of this lead is.
Perfect. So you're now focusing on optimization on your website through forms or whatever else, guiding them through a bit of a journey.
But I got another trick on top of that.
And so you've got that now you're getting higher quality leads. So then what else would you do?
Well, we don't know if we're getting higher quality leads, but what we can do is, in the back end, and it's not hard for us to build, is we can segment them.
Great.
So if someone goes, actually, I want a full house renovation, I've got a multi-million-dollar house and we've got a bathroom reno that we want started next week, we can alert the director that one is a high value lead that's going straight to the person that is definitely going to get straight back to it. And then essentially we're kind of like, at the website level, we're segmenting the quality of the leads. You know what I mean?
Great. So then you can allocate those leads when it's a very, very high quality. They get pushed up to the front in terms of the sales guys, because the sales guys have the ability to close them at a higher service, better rate. And they're able to put time and attention into that.
And I'm sure people probably haven't noticed, but if you've ever filled any kind of survey out that's asking you a question here, then there, and it's asking you like, what's your income or something like that, you've gone into a different bucket, right? So that's just the way that we can kind of, it's all just time and labor, right? So we're taking some of the stresses off the phone system. And then on top of that, like the third option I was going to say is a live chat. And with that live chat, I'm sure most people have seen how good ChatGPT has got. We can build AI customer service. Right.
So tell us about that. A lot of people probably don't understand that, and you've done that for some of our businesses, for some of my businesses. But how does that work? So I'm on the website, I can't get through on a call, and we'll talk about the other way we can do AI through a call, but I can't get through a call, and I'm on the website and say, hey guys, I really need my toilet fixed. What happens?
On the chat?
Yeah.
Right. So traditionally 5 years ago, and people have all experienced it, and this is what I've noticed, the pushback with a lot of people is like, oh, you know, like Telstra or the big companies, you try to do that live chat and it's very poorly kind of done. It's like very clunky.
Yes.
Whereas in the last 3 or 4 years, the AI that everyone keeps hearing about, or the chat GPT, essentially what we can do is we can go, hello AI, hello chat GPT, and train it on the business. I'm Sam's Plumbing. I do plumbing in on the Gold Coast. I do toilets. I do hot water units. I do this. I do that, and I can plug it into my calendar. Like, this is the extra level. This is my availabilities, AI. Now you've just been trained on my business only, right? So then with the bot on the website, someone messages, hey, sorry, I've got a hot water unit that's not working.
Yep.
We've already trained it on exactly, because
Responses.
like, unfortunately, most businesses, well, not unfortunately, but fortunately, most businesses, the questions that you're asking have been asked before. They're just FAQs.
Yes.
Problem is, people are too lazy to read a massive list of FAQs.
They want an instant response.
So essentially, all we're doing is training our our own AI on the, call it 100 or 200 different questions that people are going to ask. That's all it ever is. With the answers, we can test it, and like we can stress test it before we push it out to customers, because people will have the pushback, oh no, it's not going to be good enough. Well, we can train it, we can test it, whatever answers it's coming back with, and it gets better and better, and we can train it on what the end goal is. So for example, with the plumbing business, someone's asking about a hot water unit. We can answer just enough questions, but then see, it's now the person that's chatting with it, if you're chatting with it, you're engaged, it's a good conversation. The final thing is, hey, by the way, leave us your name and number. Sam will get the transcript of this call, this chat, and he'll get back to you as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and so what we're doing here is taking marketing to the next level, in that we are trying to decrease the cost per acquisition.
Yeah.
Because what people don't do, what people usually do actually, is they just drive marketing and they just keep going and keep going. Like, well, it's working. But little do they know, they probably could get that same client or customer at a third of the cost. Because they're not missing them, they're giving them more information, they're hotter. Now, one big one I want to talk about as well, so that's AI bots. That's a robot, an AI technology that you've trained, continuously trained, that's sitting on your website, that's giving people answers and directing them to either getting more information off you to book you in for a call, or you're giving them a price then and there. You can do that if you want to, if you're confident enough to do that. Now, what I want to talk about is phone calls, right? And so the biggest, what usually happens is that someone clicks on your ad, someone clicks on your local SEO, they will click and call your number. A lot of them, a high percentage, won't actually leave a message.
Yeah.
If you don't answer that call, they're most likely, if they're not a referral, if they're just a cold lead, they're not going to call you back.
Yep.
They are not going to call you back.
I see it all the time.
And then you ask, and then you look at the figures and you're like, well, it says here that 100 people have called through Google Ads. But then we look at it and go, well, you actually have only answered 25.
Yeah.
The other 75, they're not coming back because they already have judged you on your service based on you not picking up the phone.
Yeah.
I'm the same. If I call up a painter and I need something done, if he doesn't answer that call, he or she doesn't answer that call, then I'm calling the next painter. And I'm doing that. So what I want to talk about is,
how do we capture that?
AI agents on the phone. Wicked. This is next level, and this is for people that have an extreme amount of volume. And even if you don't have an extreme amount of volume, I love this. It's been an absolute game changer. So, in line with the business that we were talking about, where we were missing 50% of calls, we get thousands of calls a week. I think it was, we missed like 3,000 calls a week or something like that. It was something ridiculous, right? We brought that down to 10% missed now, just using this agent. Yep. What is it? How do we get it? What does it look like?
So it's very, very new, very early days, and it's super impressive even where it's at. We can even train it on your own voice,
Yes.
which is pretty scary.
Yeah.
But essentially, similar thing. It can be trained. Like you can essentially have the chatbot first trained with FAQs, and then we can plug that into the voice, right? And that can be answering the calls.
Yeah.
We can do things like if your team doesn't answer the call within 10, 15, 20 seconds, you can look at your data of your call system when people are hanging up, then bounce over to our, call it basically an AI employee, you know what I mean? And then the even cooler part about this is you can come in and listen to the transcript, or you can have it transcribed for you.
Yep.
And similar thing, you can kind of set up what its intentions are, what kind of questions people are going to ask, and what we're trying to get it to do. So it's kind of just like the last line of defense before someone hangs up and calls the next person.
Yep.
Yes, 1 out of 10 of those people are not going to be super pumped once they realize it's AI, but there's the other few that you have captured that
There's the other 75 that you missed.
Yeah, and they're just gone.
And you only need 10 of them to say okay, because you never would have got them in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
What I love about this, it's not your phone call reply option where it's like press 1 and to leave your details, press 2 to do. It's literally a person who sounds like you and I talking back to you as if we were having a proper, intelligent conversation.
Yeah.
It's a, hey, how's it going? Welcome to Sam's Plumbing Business. At the moment, we don't have any of the sales team available. However, I'm here to help you to get an understanding of what you need, and one of our sales agents will call you back as soon as we can. That one line absolutely destroys the rate of people bouncing and not actually calling back.
Yeah.
Right, and so you're getting all these people now going, oh, amazing, someone's actually here to answer it, and whilst I don't have an answer right now, at least I know they answer the phone.
Yeah.
And so this AI agent will ask the questions that you wanted to ask. What are you looking for? Are you looking for maintenance or something, installation? Is it a new home? And they might be like, it's something else. I'm actually looking for a hot water system. Great, we do hot water systems all the time. Where are you located? What's your phone number? What's your email address? Do you have a budget in mind? This is our process. We'll come out and quote it, and we can give you an understanding. We usually have a 3-day turnaround time. How does this feel? Can we book you in? That's what an AI
and it's
agent can do.
Like, it sounds crazy futuristic and stuff, but like some people just don't. Like, I know that you and I are kind of living it here, but a lot of, like, I find it when I chat to people how many people don't know how quickly these types of things are moving. And if you're considering like another admin person just to keep answering the phones, and I came to you and said, hey, we can set this thing up, we can train it, you can come back in and literally it gets better and better. It's not just like I said before, or you said before, with press 1 to do this and X, 2 to do that. It's very, very impressive.
Yes, it's nearly as it's as close as you can get to human interaction, real human interaction. Now, this isn't going to replace humans, I don't believe, right now.
Well, it just makes everyone like 10 times more productive.
Correct. Efficient, productive, gives you a higher level of service. It gives your business an edge against other businesses right now. The adoption rate of this for businesses, I think, is going to be very, very low. It's just like anything, when zero accounting came out, it took years to take it on board. This will probably be a little bit faster, I believe, but I still think a lot of businesses won't do it because they're just scared. They're scared of testing, they're scared of the risk, and they're scared of just having 100%. A crack. If you are a business that doesn't mind too much that, yes, there are going to be faults, but you're going to have an 80% efficiency gain, then hammer into it, because if you are at the forefront and you're able to answer the calls, and the tradie side is a notorious one for business owners getting so many calls in but aren't able to answer the calls because they're on the tools and they're doing
that was what I was going to say is, like, what are people doing that actually makes them the money? Like, as a plumber, $300 call out fee, but if you're getting stuck in all of the admin stuff, like, there's all that, like, if we can, whatever we can systemize with the lead generation to make the admin side more efficient, like,
Do it.
just makes too much sense,
Yes.
doesn't it?
Yeah. Now let's talk about a platform. How do you do this? People are probably thinking this is going to cost me bloody millions. No, it doesn't. You look at ChatGPT at the moment. ChatGPT is built on a multi-billion-dollar platform. They are losing money like there's no tomorrow. However, they'll gain it back in efficiencies and profitability later. So for them and for businesses that are providing this software, they need to give it out at a rate that small business owners can afford, right? And so the biggest cost that you're going to have here is implementation and building it into your business. Call it a 5 to 10 grand cost to implement this system. Sam can help you out if you are looking for systemizations, but 5 to 10 grand, you've got the system inbuilt in there, and then it's just an ongoing fee for the AI, which is cents on the dollar, like in terms of the agents.
Yeah.
However, let's pretend that in a year you end up spending 30 grand on taking calls and for the platform and all that sort of stuff. Well, an employee maybe would have cost you $75,000 for an admin person. One, were they as efficient? Are they working 24 hours in the day? And have they closed all of the leads that came in? So that your 30 grand automatically turns into hundreds and hundreds, and if not millions of dollars in actual return. And so it's a no-brainer at this point in time, and it's just going to keep getting better.
You did just skim over one major detail.
Yep.
Which is office hours.
Yeah.
Like, people don't realise it's like most services, I just think of these types of things logically. My toilet's blocked. When am I dealing with that as a person? Like, I'm at work all day.
Yeah.
Right? So 7, 8 o'clock at night, I need a plumber or shower, whatever, I need a plumber. And if I fill out a form and all of a sudden you straight away, bang, send me back like some information, rates, or even your calendar, all of those types of things that can happen.
Yes. So it's a Sunday night, my toilet's clogged.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? And I'm like sending out information, and then you're like straight back to me going, hey, actually, we'll be there tomorrow morning. We've got a free space right here.
Yeah.
Mental.
Yeah.
Game changer.
It is a game changer. If you can plug it into your... That's been probably the biggest pushback that I've had of people that don't want to also plug their calendar in just because they never have, like a lot of tradies mainly, that have never really had figured out their calendar.
Yep.
Whereas if you could figure out your calendar and go, okay, I know that I've already got this job at this time of the day, and I believe it's going to maybe give a little bit of buffer.
Yep.
I've got this other job. Well, just block those dates out on those times out on your calendar, and we can potentially fill that middle bit.
Yep.
With you're not even having to speak to someone.
Yep.
It's just got to be trained on the inside at the start, and then it can pay dividends in insane numbers.
So from this podcast, 3 stages of marketing and sales that I want to go through. The first is the learning phase. Learning the viability or the feasibility of doing marketing in the first instance through unit economics. Understand your margins, your product or service margins, understand the cost per acquisition, understand your lifetime value. You need to know this before you scale, right? So that's the first stage that you need to go to. Engage in someone that understands it, engage in someone like Sam that actually knows how to find a estimate at least of what it's going to cost you per click and what it's going to cost you to be talking to that person on the phone or in a meeting or whatever it is. Stage number 2, scale, right? And when I talk about scale, it's now we've figured out the pattern of understanding ads. We know that it works within our unit economics and gross profit margins and lifetime values, and now we're scaling and understanding capacity we need through inventory, labor, or whatever else we need to deliver to the customer the service or product. And then the last stage that we want to look at is efficiency gains through automation, and how to really now hone in on making sure closure rates are super high, acquisition rates are high, you're decreasing your cost per acquisition. You get these 3 things right, you will make yourself a multi-million dollar business, because it is now basically a plug and play in scaling your business. You know how to get them in, you know how to close them, you know how to scale it, your margins are right, profitability skyrockets, and you just keep playing that game. You keep going and keep going. Sam, how can we reach you?
We're about to do a rebrand, aren't we?
Yeah, we are going to do a rebrand. Fourth Wave Digital will be rebranded into the New Wave Group. He will be internal within the group so that we can provide that systemization and go, look, your numbers are right in terms of your margins and so forth. You need to scale now, and Sam can help you do that scaling and automation. If you're looking for someone that's doing social media and posts, Sam's not the man for you. It's basically, how do we get your business to the most profitable way, in the smartest way, not having to lift your finger as much because you've got automation in place with AI. AI is a big one that we're going to be focusing on in the next 6 to 12 months, I believe.
Yeah, we are keeping it, like, paying attention to Google is losing market share of search.
Yep.
So we're paying attention to that chat. Like, well, I'm starting to see leads come through ChatGPT itself. People are searching accountant near me through ChatGPT. We can track that.
Yep.
So we're paying attention to the ebbs and flows of things. And like you said, Facebook and Instagram, the one thing I always say to, like, service businesses is an attention economy. And it's kind of like an entertainer's platform. So if you're going to be just, like, I've seen a lot of businesses that just run a Facebook, just an Instagram account, and they're just posting photos. Well, you're competing with all of the other entertainment when people are just scrolling, right? So it definitely is a channel, organic Instagram growth, but it's very, very competitive compared to like 5-10 years ago. Do you know
Jump
what I mean?
into things that are new, because whilst it's not humming at the moment, it's like anything. Instagram, when it was new, it wasn't paying dividends, but now if you were at the forefront of Instagram, YouTube, any platform, you're going to win if you put the time and effort into it.
100%.
Right?
And AI is
that new one.
Yeah.
And so, if you're liking this episode, I'd really like you to please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, share it on your social media. Here at New Wave Group, we're expanding the range of services that we're doing to help you in all factions of business. And so, whether that means your financial side through tax and unit economics and profitability, the marketing side, we've now got a law side, as well as general insurance and financial planning. We're trying to make a well-rounded group here to make sure that as a business owner, you have the support to be able to make confident decisions, to scale, and ultimately build a business that doesn't run you. And so, like and subscribe. You can contact Sam. Right now, it's www.fourth-wave.com.au.
Yep.
Thanks, mate.
Awesome. Thank you. Cheers.